Alright guys, so as you are all probably aware, about a week or two ago I released a video titled, "Why Can I See That Lighthouse?" An informal flat earth experiment. And in the video, it became apparent that a lighthouse 13.8 miles away from where I was standing, a 95-foot tall lighthouse, it appeared visually through the binoculars. It seemed as if I can see basically the majority of the lighthouse, despite curvature calculations using trigonometry of Pythagorean's theorem, despite the calculations suggesting that 77 feet of the lighthouse should have been missing. And this really wasn't what we can see. What I saw, what appears to me visually, it seems like a big chunk of the lighthouse was still visible, as you can see on the left-hand side here. So much so that even some of the low-level trees appeared visible. I mean, if you look at the original shot right out of the binoculars, this line here is a line of trees. Right there on Key Biscayne, a big line of trees, and the trees are all smaller. The trees they look to appear about 30 feet tall, and if you zoom in here, you can see again this dark line of trees that lead up all the way to the edge of the coast. The lighthouse is right here on the very edge of the coast, and you zoom in, and there's this like dark, low-level hanging trees right around here. But then the lighthouse sticks up over it. 95-foot tall lighthouse. But what's interesting is that somebody made a video response to me. Here is his video right here, Rick Taylor. I'll put a link to his channel and the video in the description below. And I love his video. What a wonderful exercise in skepticism. What a wonderful exercise in critical thinking. This is the real shit right here. This isn't about the closed-minded, anti-science, anti-skeptic people who at the thought of performing an experiment to prove the curvature of the earth, they shit their pants and go crying to mommy. Okay? So this is real skepticism, real experimentation, real field work, and I just find it to be so entertaining and interesting, really. Well, I'm here to offer a few refutations to this guy's video. I think that there's just some pretty big flaws in his argument, and I'm here to go into that. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about was he points out here in his video, and I'm going to go ahead and play that for you now. I'll let him say it for me, so I'll go ahead and play his video right now.
Now the next thing we need to do is we're going to take the image itself, and I'm going to make this transparent so we can see through it as I do what I do next. So now we're going to take and we're going to make the width of that of the lighthouse image from the binoculars. It's got to be the same width as what we see in the close-up picture. In other words, the proportions have got to be the same. So when you shrink that down to where the proportions are the same, then you see that you lose all of this down below in height. Okay, so what we can see from the lighthouse from that angle is a large portion. You can't see what's down below all the way down. You're missing all of this. And based on refraction and who knows what the atmosphere was like that day. And
so again, in essence, what he's saying is that when he shrinks it down to the proportional width of the lighthouse, based on the up-close image, on the right you have a picture taken by somebody very close to the lighthouse, and he took my image which is the one on the left over here. He took my image Let me move that over. He took my image. This is the one on the left over here. My image on the left, which was from 13.8 miles away, and he shrunk it down so it was the same proportions from left to right of this close-up image right here on the beach, pretty close to the lighthouse. And he says that, well, look how much is missing. If we make it to the same width, we're missing a giant chunk of the bottom. But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is, why can't you see the trees? Why can't you see the trees? Notice the very image that he used. When he shrinks my lighthouse image down to the same width, you can still see the discoloration of trees at the base of the lighthouse, which again, if you go back, let's see here, if you go back to my original image, here you have the lighthouse over here. You have this long line of trees, and I'm going to go to Google Maps in a second and show you what exactly you're looking at. And then you zoom in, and that same long line of trees continues and even partially obscures the left-hand side of the base of the lighthouse. But ironically, the right-hand side of the base of the lighthouse is actually a little more visible on the right side. And that's because, as I'll show you on Google Maps in a moment, this is the very edge of the beach. This is where the coast meets the water. There's no trees on this side, but all the trees are on this side. So if he's trying to suggest that from my image 13.8 miles away, if he's trying to suggest that the base of the lighthouse, or rather what I see here, is actually just the top half of the lighthouse, as he suggested in his video, if that's the top half of the lighthouse, why can't I see this giant row of trees here that are clearly like half the height of the lighthouse image as seen here? Why can't I see these trees? And in a moment I'll show you how close they are. If the top half, the bottom half of the lighthouse is just missing. Now take a look at this. Here it is on Google Maps. Okay, here we are on Google Maps. This here is the lighthouse right here. All right, you can see it. There it is. There's the lighthouse. We're going to spin around a little bit. There it is. The wonders of Google Earth. There's a lighthouse. So here's what I did. Again, as you'll notice here, check this out. You'll notice that on the left side is a bunch of damn trees. But on the right side is a lot less trees because it's just sand and then water. Sand and then water. And what I did was I went to Google Maps and I found the very, very precise location that I was standing at. The very, very precise location that I was standing at. All right, I'm going to show you that now in a moment. I went to Google Maps and I really looked closely to find the exact location that I was standing at. And bear with me here while let me take it off. Let me put it back on 2D for a moment. We're going to zoom down. This, my friends, is basically exactly where I was standing at. All right? And I know this because as you go down this trail, we were on bikes, there's a bunch of mangroves on either side, but eventually the mangroves come to an end, as you can see here. And based on, in fact, if you look at my original video, at the start, you'll see where the mangroves come to an end behind me at the start of the video. Just watch. Right there behind me. That's the end of the mangroves. There's some dudes standing right there. There's a lady standing right there. But that's the end of the mangroves, and then it's just kind of pebbly rock with a little bit of water coming over on top every now and again. Well, you know, that's 90 feet maybe. I'm about 90 feet away. So again, we come here, and this is where the trees come to an end, and we were basically standing right here. I'm very sure that that's basically where we were standing. So what I did was I drew a straight line. I drew a straight line from this position to the lighthouse, straight to the lighthouse. And this is what you get. This is what's really crazy. This is what's really bonkers. All right, we're following that line. Bam, to the lighthouse here on Key Biscayne. We're going to go ahead and we're going to zoom in. Now wait till you see this. This is what's really fucking crazy, guys. This is what's really crazy. So you zoom in, and now we're going to go over here. Google Maps is a very convenient 3D mode. I'm going to put it here into 3D. Bam. Now we have a 3D image. Again, you can see the line here connecting straight to the lighthouse. So I put a line straight from where I was standing to the lighthouse, and I'm going to line our field of view up perfectly with this line here. That's pretty damn accurate there. Lined it up with this. Kind of hard to see the line right now, but that's it. There's the line again. Zoom out. There's the line again. As you can see, we're pretty lined up with the line. Now what's crazy is, why, oh why, in the picture that I took, can I see these trees here? Why can't I see these trees here? But the crazy part is you can see that the trees seem to be partially obscuring. In fact, I'll pull this up for you. I'm going to go here, and you're going to see here, I used a few different contrasted image versions. So you can see, this is the same image. This is the original one, but I just changed the contrast so it brings the colors out a little bit more. Trees on the left, then it kind of obscures to the bottom here. And then you can almost see white, like you can literally almost see the base of the lighthouse there. And you can even kind of see darkness right behind it, like there's more trees or something back there. Again, darkness, darkness. The darkness kind of comes down. This is the shoreline on the right, little darkness in the back there. And again, the same thing. Darkness up here, a little darkness in the back. This is complete. This image right here from my binoculars is completely consistent. Completely consistent with what this line of sight here on Google Maps is showing you. What this line of sight here on Google Maps is showing you. And what does the line of sight show you directly from where I was standing? Well, I'll fucking show you. It really shows that you can basically see bear with me here. It shows that there's a bunch of low-level trees here. And in fact, it shows that a lot of the low-level trees aren't even there near the right side. If we spin around a little bit, you can see that there's, like, you know, assuming that, you know, this Google Maps satellite image is fairly up to date. There was a hurricane that came through here recently. But you see that it's fairly clear on the right side, but there is a little trees behind it, and there's trees in front, and there's trees to the left. But over here, there's a big empty clear space. That's basically what you see in my image. You basically see a clear, empty space. Trees, 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 and then it cuts down, and you can see more of the right side of the lighthouse than you can see of the left side, because that's where the ocean is, and it's a literal clearing of trees. And another thing to take into account, another thing to notice, which is very interesting, is that if you look at my image of the lighthouse, what you'll notice that the trees are kind of high up here, and then right as the trees get close to the lighthouse, that black line of trees suddenly sharply goes down. It becomes smaller, the line. Let me go back to the publisher here. Um, you can see that the trees get smaller as it gets closer to the lighthouse. Slight go down. And I'm thinking that that is completely consistent with the geography that you're looking at. So, from this angle, you can see that here, the trees extend closer towards where I was, and the lighthouse is further back. So the trees in the foreground, to the left of the lighthouse, these are closer to me. So they will, and they're actually close by approximately a fifth of a mile. From the lighthouse here to this area over here is around 1,000 feet. It's around 1,000 feet away from the lighthouse. That's roughly a fifth of a mile, 1,000 to 1,500 feet. So these would appear bigger because they're closer to the edge, but as it wraps around and the lighthouse goes further into the distance from me, there are still trees, but the trees are further back. And again, that seems to be very consistent with what you can see here. The trees, here they are, here they are, here they are, and then as you get closer to the lighthouse, the trees get smaller. Not necessarily because the trees are shorter, but that they're further back in the distance. As you can see here, this is about 1,000 feet closer to where I was. So, again, my issue here is, why can't I even see these trees? I mean, these trees are about 13 miles away as well. Because they're only about a... Why would I even be able to see these fucking trees? These trees are clearly shorter. I mean, if you go based on my image, the trees are clearly shorter than the lighthouse. You know, okay, so they're further up close. So that might make them seem bigger. But again, that just means that the lighthouse is bigger. Even it's further away, but it's still taller. If it was closer, it'd be even bigger. It's taller. The lighthouse is taller than the trees. So why can't I even see the trees? Why can I even see the trees from approximately 13 miles away? So that's one issue with his video. Another issue with his video is a point that he makes earlier on, which I love the point he made. Very interesting point, where he talks about how there's a curvature on the balcony that you can see from underneath. Now, part of the problem I think with this is that it's really hard to tell what the fuck is going on with this blown up image that I got through the binoculars from 13 miles away. There's a weird white ledge thing hanging out. Again, he makes a very interesting point about curvature, which I won't get into now because it'll just, just take forever. But go check out his video and you'll be able to see what he's trying to say. My issue is, why can't I see the trees at the base of the lighthouse? Why can't I see any of these trees here along Key Biscayne? Why can't I see any of these trees? These trees are shorter than the lighthouse significantly. Why can't I see any of those trees? Who cares about the lighthouse? Why can't I see these trees? I'd say roughly on average 30 feet tall. Doesn't make much sense when you consider the curvature calculations. Just doesn't make sense. So again, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out these incredible pro-science, pro-skepticism, how do you know it's a globe t-shirts? How do you know it's a globe t-shirts? Definitely check these out. I'll put a link in the description below. They're not a pro-flat earth shirt. They're a pro-skepticism shirt. How do you know that the earth is a globe? Is it because your first grade teacher told you and you blindly believed it ever since then? Or is it because you actually exercised science and skepticism to really understand why you believe what you believe? How do you know it's a globe t-shirts are now available? I'll put a link in the description below. Thanks for watching. fight back against YouTube censorship by supporting me on Patreon. You'll also get access to exclusive, never-before-seen videos and other perks like monthly Google Hangouts with me, free books and t-shirts, and more.